Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Kristy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. I am going to be talking to you today about my own journey to becoming a personal trainer. I get a lot of questions or as far as how to start a podcast, how do I become a personal trainer? What does that look like? How do we work online? Is it fun? Do you love it? I get a lot of those questions. And then I've had more requests than I ever thought I would have to do an episode on my journey and kind of just talking about that. So I think this is going to be kind of fun and different. But when I sat down to make some notes or bullet points for this episode, which I struggle with anyway, I do better just kind of talking on the fly and not knowing exactly what I'm going to say. But when I sat down to kind of make notes and think about my journey, it goes in so many different directions. And I did struggle with what the hell to even say or talk about. So we'll see where this ends up going, but I'm excited to share it with you because of course it matters, how I did this. And of course you would want to know. And I do have obviously some previous episodes about Beachbody and what that kind of looked for me and what that looked like for me and my thoughts on that. So I'm not going to get into that a lot today, but it is a part of my journey. So I definitely want to talk about that and what I learned and how I got to where I am. So first, it's important that I don't know if it is or not, I'm just saying that I went to cosmetology school right after high school and to become a hairstylist, of course. And I did that for years until fresh out of high school till 2020 when COVID hit and I finally transitioned all the way out of salon life into online personal training. That I did hair forever. That was my life. I loved doing hair. I loved talking to people. I loved making them feel pretty. I loved kind of co-owning the salon. It was really fun. And I learned a lot and I talked to a lot of people. I learned a lot about people and personalities and tendencies and, all kinds of things. So I feel like that helped me a lot to transition from doing hair to training some of my clients, honestly, and making a really smooth transition and kind of giving me a little confidence into okay, I think I can do this thing. But to back up a little bit, when I had started my own, I guess, transformation, whatever you want to call it, I was into health and fitness. I loved working out and I was posting about it, obviously, and I was approached by a Beachbody coach. At this time, I had already considered personal training. A lot of people were like, you should open a gym here in town. You should train people. And I'm like, I'm not certified to do that. And honestly, I was not confident enough to become certified. I didn't have enough confidence in myself. I didn't think I could learn it all. I didn't think I could pass the test. I was scared. I talked myself out of it. And somewhere in there, I was approached by the person that became my Beachbody coach. And, of course, Beachbody coaches are everywhere. And so, in my DMs, and I had already had quite a few ladies that were already approaching me about Beachbody, but this one person, made it sound, and I had a very lengthy conversation with her about, I'm not certified. I don't know how I can do this and not be certified. And it's very much like, you don't have to be certified. You just have to walk the walk, right? Walk the walk, talk the talk. Coach will teach you how to do all the things. And it honestly, I did not feel comfortable with it in the beginning. And a lot of times while I was Beachbody coaching, I didn't feel comfortable with it, but I enjoyed coaching. I always enjoyed coaching. I did enjoy some of the programs. I enjoyed helping people with their health and fitness. I always enjoyed that. But I always felt like I needed to be certified. I felt like it was bullshit that I wasn't certified and all these people are trusting me with their health and fitness. And I actually knew a lot about health and fitness, like a lot about health and fitness, because I had already done Beachbody programs. I had already done bodybuilding.com programs. I was following so many trainers. I have a cousin who was a trainer. He was kind of helping me through things. I knew a lot. I did a lot of research and I had already gone, through so many different diets and all the things. And I had a very good understanding of fitness at that point, honestly. But I signed up to be a Beachbody coach. I did the whole thing. And then I had to go back and start doing Beachbody programs. And I had to start eating out of the containers because I had to walk the walk. That's where I got kind of fucked up, is because, and this is honestly just part of my journey that I feel like you should know about. I felt like I wasn't being authentic because the way that I got the body that I had when I signed up to be a Beachbody coach was not from Beachbody programs. Now, I had already done P90X, I had already done Insanity, and I had done Body Beast, which to date, I think is my favorite Beachbody program. If that's still even on Body or BOD or whatever the online thing is now. Oh, I love that program. It really got me into lifting. So I had done those programs, and then I went from that to bodybuilding.com and I learned how to lift and progressive overload and macros. And I was starting to learn all of these things. Well, when I signed up to be a Beachbody coach, I had to do Beachbody programs. So here I am. Literally, you guys, I did Country Heat one time, but it was a new program and it was like all the rage and whatever's coming out, we had to talk about. You guys, I did a country line dance workout. Did I do the whole thing? Absolutely not. But I clicked on that video, like against everything with me. I don't like country music. I don't like dancing workouts. Like, I am a lifter. Okay. You see me squatting in my gym on Instagram, and here I am doing a country heat line dancing workout, a line dancing workout program. I can't even say it with a straight face. That's when I should have known that this is not for me. But anyway, it was a lot of that. It was a lot of talking about things that I didn't want to talk about. It was a lot of saying things that I didn't want to say. And it was a lot of inauthenticity for me. Let's just put it like that. So I did Beachbody coaching for a while, and I learned a lot about fitness and business and people, honestly, during that time. So do I wish I never became a Beachbody coach? I don't know, because I learned a lot from it, but also it wasn't great. But the things that I did like about Beachbody coaching was the knowledge that I gained about working out, about people, about what works and what doesn't, about what people will follow and what doesn't, about kind of like what's out there in the business world. So I did like the knowledge. I made a lot of really amazing friends, actually. A lot. My friend Emily, she's a client of mine. She actually started this podcast for me as my virtual assistant and then my podcast manager. I met her through Beachbody. And so I met a lot of great people, and I got to travel, and I did help a lot of people. And some parts of the coaching opportunity were absolutely amazing. And I did like the fitness, and I did like meeting and being around, like-minded people and fit people and positive, mindsets. Like, it was not all bad for sure. It just didn't align ultimately with what I wanted for myself and for my business. So I eventually became, I guess, just kind of frustrated with what I was doing, but I had also become confident in what I didn't want to be doing. There were a lot of meetings and trainings that we went to. So I became confident in what I knew. I learned a lot. I became confident that I wanted to become a certified personal trainer. I wanted to help people differently than I was. And ultimately, it did help me to become confident enough that I could do that. And so I knew that I needed to become certified, and I was still terrified. I don't know. I know that sounds probably kind of crazy, because I think a lot of you anyway see me as this podcast personality, and I'm on Instagram, and you probably don't see me as not confident. I don't know how you see me, I guess, but I myself, if I'm listening to a podcaster, I'm thinking, you're putting yourself out there and you've got an Instagram and you look great and you got a nice body. You probably are really confident. Not all the time. So Anyway, I was not confident at all, but I remember kind of announcing to my husband, like, I'm going to get my certification. I'm going to stop Beachbody coaching. Like I have to do things differently. So I did. And I think it's very important because along the way, I eventually just became so frustrated with the fact that there was so much there still is so much misinformation out there. So many women, people that came to me wanting help from Beachbody programs. I knew that they needed so much more than just a workout program on video and food containers. I knew that it was sometimes doing more harm than good. And it really eventually got to me. And I think having a certification is so important. I have always thought like, I think that your health and fitness is so important. And it always pissed me off that I didn't have a certification, that I was helping people. And I've said this in live videos before, and I may have even said it on the podcast before. Getting health and fitness advice from someone who's not certified, I think is very reckless. And sometimes even people who are certified shouldn't be talking about what they're talking about. But for me, it was very important to get my certification. When I did that, I'm telling you, the level of proud that I was when I passed my certifications, I remember writing the essays, scared to death, feeling like I have no idea what I am doing. I have no idea. They give you these fake examples, right? John weighs X amount and he has this, ailment where he can't bend his knees. And yeah, I don't know. He has a desk job, and how would you help John lose 20 pounds? And, what would his lifestyle look like? And you have to write up this entire program. And I remember thinking, I think this is how, but I don't know. I was so nervous, and I passed that test so well, like with flying colors. And I was so proud of myself. And I went on to so I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a certified transformation specialist. I'm a certified glute specialist, and I'm an elite trainer through ISSA. So I went on to get a couple more certifications, of course, and I actually just purchased the nutrition certification, which I'm excited about and also a little terrified. I'm not going to lie. But I think that having personal training and some psychology and behavior training certifications is 100% necessary. So I felt very good after I got certified. I felt like finally I am qualified to make these programs. I didn't necessarily know. In the beginning, I was like, I already know all of this. I already knew how to help John because I already knew all of this, but I needed the certification, like for myself to feel like I was able to put that out there. And like, technically now I can help you because I am a CPT. I was just so proud of myself. So I also found straight after that I could have all of the information. I could know all of the things about health and fitness and macros and people, but how do I help the people? How do I package that into a program? And then after that, how do I find people? How do people find me? How do they know to trust me? Without Beachbody, without these graphics, without these hashtags, without this community of like, I'm a Beachbody coach, I didn't have anything, right? I had Kristy Castillo's 6-week shred, I think is what it was called at the time, or maybe I even called it something different. I don't know, but it was very overwhelming. Now I feel really proud of myself and I have the certification and I can freaking help you and I care so much and I want to help, but how do people find me? And so I ended up hiring a few coaches to help me understand the process of essentially working online, because I didn't understand how to sell what I had to offer, and I didn't know how to package that. What I learned was, for those of you that are kind of wanting to get into this business, is yes, you have to know what you're selling and you have to be able to package that, right? I have to have programs for people to buy when they go to my website because that's what you want. But at the end of the day, people have to know, like, and trust you. And I know that's like a business thing, right? Know, like, and trust. How do you get someone to get to know you? How do you make someone like you? How do you make someone trust you? And what I've learned is that is done through being myself. And if there's anything that I could go back and change, it would be that. But I wouldn't know all of those things without being a Beachbody coach. And I wouldn't know all of those, that especially important thing. I wouldn't know everything that I know now had I not hired these coaches, because what I did learn from coaches was how to sell what I had to offer, how to package it, how people can find me, and how to reach out to people. And some of that was very sleazy. Some of it was very salesy. Some of it I was not going to do, no matter who told me to do it. It was ridiculous. But I did learn that I did have some strengths, and I did have this intuition of like, no, I'm not going to cold call people, and I'm not going to spam people in the DMs, because that's what we did as Beachbody coaches. And that felt gross. So I knew things that I would not do anymore. I knew things that I did want to do. I knew how I wanted my business to feel. And I finally found a couple of coaches that would help me do that. So I realized what my strengths are and what I was really passionate about helping people learn. And I had one coach ask me, if I told you right now to talk about a topic for 15 minutes and just right off the top of your head, what would it be? And I was like, 100% macros and mindset and nutrition. Like I could bundle that into a nice little 15-minute presentation or whatever. Right off the top of my head, I could start rambling about why macros are important. And she was like, well, there you go. Like that's your passion. That's what you want to help people with. That's you. And so that was really, really nice. And if I could do things differently, I would have gone with my gut and not done certain things along the way. I would have gone with my gut and I would have started a podcast sooner. I would have only posted authentically if I could go back. I wouldn't have used copy and paste messages or copy and paste like stock photos and gross. I would not have done that. And I would have only coached authentically. So if there was like Country Heat, that would be something that I would now make fun of and be like, this will actually not make you fit and healthy and have a balanced life. Absolutely not. But then I thought I just shared the stock photos and kind of put it up there because that's what everybody was doing. And that's what I was told. And that's gross. I don't like that. So if I could go back, I would definitely do those things differently. But ultimately, I guess I wouldn't change those things, because if I didn't go through those struggles and those things, right? If I didn't coach people wrong, I wouldn't know how to coach people right. If I didn't see shitty workout programming, I wouldn't know good workout programming. If I didn't coach people, I mean, we all have to fall on our faces before we can do something. What do I want to say? We all have to crawl before we walk and walk before we run. We all have to fall on our face before we succeed. We all have to write a terrible workout program. Actually, the workout programming was great. It was just that the visuals were terrible. But we all have to start somewhere. And I'm not embarrassed by my journey at all, but I do want to be transparent about my journey, that I did do things and say things and post things that I don't know that I believed, or I don't know that I felt good about. I know I didn't feel good about posting some of them, but it was what people wanted to see. And it really did grab attention. And I really learned like, wow, people do like these trigger words of lose 10 pounds in 10 days and 30-day challenge and prizes and all these things that I always thought like, why would you want a prize for working out? Like, I don't understand. The prize is your body. I don't work that way. And now I don't do any of that stuff in my business. And I attract people who also, now don't get me wrong, I'm sure some of you love a prize that do my programs, but I think ultimately I attract people now because I'm being authentic and I'm saying these things of like, we're not doing 30-day challenges anymore. At least not ones that are going to say like, I might challenge you to go for a walk every day for 30 days, but I'm not going to challenge you to being absolutely perfect in your life and your fitness for 30 days and then giving you a t-shirt or a water bottle for it. That just never felt right to me, but I wouldn't know that that didn't feel right unless I did it. Right. So I'm confident in what I do. I'm confident in the way that I help my clients. I know my passion. I know my why. I know I'm doing this for the right reasons. I know my programs are so good. I know my app is beautiful. I know I've put in the time and I know I'm doing this the right way now. Like everything feels so aligned. And as far as you wanting to go into this field, or if you want to go into any kind of a field that's online, I would really challenge you to look inside, because just like I feel like you know whether a workout program is right for you, you know whether a coach is right for you, you know whether you can restrict, and you know intuitively what you need to do to lose weight. You know intuitively what you need to do to run your business as well. And intuitively, I knew that some of the shit that I was doing was gross and I probably shouldn't have been doing it, but I didn't know any different, right? So it's like when you know better, you have to do better. It's one of those kind of things. But essentially, I do know there are some of you that do reach out to me and want to know how to start a podcast, and you want to know how to start your online business. And I would just honestly say to you, do it however you want to do it. If it feels good to you to show up a certain way, to say certain things, to type certain workouts, to help people a certain way, do that. And if a business coach is telling you that's not going to work, or that's not how you do it, or you need to start your business this way and you need to train people that way, don't listen to that person, because they don't know you. And even if they do know you and they're telling you that, it's worse, because I would tell business coaches, this is kind of how I want it to feel. And they would advise me to do things differently, and it never felt right. So always do, what feels right to you. But I love my job and I love my clients. I love podcasting. I love talking to you on here. Like, I literally just talk on this microphone as if you're sitting right in front of me. Now, before I end this, I do want to talk about my struggles, because I still have a lot of struggles. There are days in my business where I don't have an original thought in my head. I don't know what to talk about on these episodes. I don't know what to post about. I don't know anything. There are days, honestly, where I feel like I don't know anything. All I want to do is coach my ladies. I can answer questions and I can guide you and I can help you with macros, but to create a post or a reel, or sometimes think of a topic for a podcast, I do struggle. And as a creator, as an entrepreneur, I'm not always going to be on, and that's something that I'm fine with now, but I struggled with a lot. I do struggle with confidence at times. I do struggle with imposter syndrome. Like, there are a lot of people that train better than me, that look better than me, that have better podcasts than me. So I think, why me? Why do people choose me as their trainer? Even though deep down I know why, there are still days where I do struggle with imposter syndrome. I do struggle with balancing my time. I love my job. And as an entrepreneur, again, there are times where could be in the middle of dinner, could be in the middle of the night, where I'm like, oh my God, this is the best idea. And then I can't sleep, or I have to get up and work on it, or it's just always on my mind. I do struggle with the balancing of time. Not so much anymore. I'm a lot better. But when you're creating a business, it can be a little obsessive. And honestly, I don't know that that's a bad thing, but I do love my job, and I do struggle sometimes with balancing and turning it off. I do struggle also with sharing authentically, but also not sharing everything. So on the internet, I want to be real and I want to come across as relatable, not to gain followers or to gain clients, but because I am a human, and that just feels right to share, like having a shit day or, whatever. But I do also struggle with the boundaries of that. So that's difficult. I think I do pretty well with that. I want to be vulnerable. I want to show up and say, like, hey, I'm having days where I suck and I'm tired and I just want to cry through my workout. But then I think, did I share too much? Should I not be sharing that I'm crying through my workout, because I'm a personal trainer? I'm training these people and they're supposed to look up to me, right? Like, I'm supposed to be this badass who loves to work out every day. And I feel like I should show that, but that's not reality. So that's really hard, right? To show that I'm a mom, but not blast my kids all over the internet or things like that is really hard. And I do also struggle with technical jobs. Like I said, I don't do well with computers and all of this stuff. That stuff I don't like. I do like to hire out certain things, my logos. We just had sweatshirts made, my website. I want to be good at it, but I'm not. I want to learn it, but I don't need to. So kind of staying in my lane, right? I would rather talk on this microphone or coach my clients all day long before I could make a graphic. I don't like that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I do want to say that I love my job so much. I love podcasting. I love each one of you listening. I thank you so much for being here. You have no idea, this just all my dreams come true on this podcast, but really, I love it. And I probably in reality wouldn't change anything about my journey because I do think it makes me different. I think it makes me understand people, and I understand your journey, and I understand the Beachbody world. I understand when you come to me and say, I'm a Beachbody junkie, but I want to get out of it and do something different because it's not sustainable. I understand because I was where you are and I was a coach. So I understand both sides, and I've seen a lot from coaching, and I've fallen on my face, and I have gained a lot of confidence in that. And I do appreciate each one of you listening and each one of my clients because I am really confident in what I do. And I know that I can help you, and I know that I will help you for the right reasons. But I still do have days where I struggle with that, which is kind of a mind fuck in itself. But I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little bit different, and it's a little about me, which I think is just weird to talk about on my own podcast, but I really do hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you get a little bit of an understanding of where I came from and my goals, for my job and for showing up here and kind of what led me to where I am. And ultimately, this podcast did change my business. And ultimately, it has changed me as a person because I have gotten to now speak authentically on here. And I have realized that so many of you can relate and accept me. And that means the absolute world to me. So this podcast has not only changed my business, but it has changed my life. And my goal is that it will change yours as well. I cannot wait to talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Kristy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.